All right, good morning. Little correction day yesterday. Was one on Friday. Didn't damage the chart in any way. So kind of slow, grinding kind of correction so far. We'll see if it ever picks up some momentum. What's with this? Pointer doesn't work. Oh, well. Oh, shoot. My brain's not all here. Hold on. Here we go. It's early, Harold. It's all right. And now we got the little red dot. So last Friday, we got the doji bar, right? Gap up, goes nowhere. Yesterday, we talked about the stair step, advance that was going on. The one red bar in the whole advance there, suggesting it was going to go down, and it gaps up above the high of the red bar. And then another gap up. So 2020 hindsight looks like a bit of an exhaustion gap that occurred, and then gap down yesterday, and it held the support. Right? And the S&Ps, I said you're going to have some pretty good support at 4150, and it held in that area. And they couldn't push it down at the end of the day, not very far. So some buyers showed up, and you can see here, they reappeared here a little later in the morning and pushed it back down. And for 1350-ish, what do we got here? For 1350-ish. Yeah, so gapping down in the area prior day's close. So I guess we'll just have to see. Thinking, since it's extended a little bit here on the short-term basis, the way down here, it's trying to bounce back up. Who knows how far it'll bounce back up? Maybe we give it 15, 30 minutes to see if it chops around, unless it does a real fast, pop up and back down, breakout failure, which would, give us a short setup for an upside shakeout. But right now, it's holding this area and looks like it's going to try and go up. So it's in an uptrend. Right? Hasn't violated any significant support here. It's just strong uptrend, no pivots. Right. So that is one sign. You look at something going up and you say, hey, is that a strong uptrend? Two things you look at. Are there any pivots in it? No, not strong. Are there any red bars in it? One. That's strong. This one's not done yet. So it's real strong. So far, while it's correcting, really not a big deal yet. Our internals are actually moving away from the bearish area. And so we were assuming that because they were close and the markets were in uptrends, that the uptrend would continue and sentiment would tag this upper band. And now it's moving down toward 0.80, which again, historically is a bearish level, but this is the new normal. Right? And so now, if this continues to correct down, and breadth, which you can see yesterday, the breadth was quite negative. Could have been worse so, but for a little down bar, the breadth was quite negative. And so maybe this is going to correct further down, and our internals are going to reach a bullish area. Right now, they're not really telling us much of anything. Right? Last week, we talked about the fact that this was kind of drifting down, a little extra bearishness coming up here. And, the breath wasn't doing much of anything because, FANG stocks were moving the market. And so no signals there. Yeah, YM held up pretty good yesterday. Things are correcting in a controlled manner. Yesterday was a bottoming tail bar. Today, a little further down, and you can see here this little downside shakeout that occurred around 6:30 retest, and so that looks like it's going to try and bounce back up. And not much, but a little support there. But it fell multiple hours in a row, greater than 100% retracement, bottoming tail bar, so on and so forth. Looks like it's going to bounce a little bit. We'll see what happens. In Qs, so this has got that bigger level of support. Yeah. So at some point, it looked like maybe this was gonna, I guess was around here, like that 15-minute was kind of rolling over, it got extended. It's like, oh, it's rolling over. And we were going to get a retest. Nope. The buyers stepped up there at the end of the day. And then they just see what happened overnight. It was just like chopping back and forth, battling until you got this little shock bar, downside shock. Then it came up for the upside shock into that resistance there. And that's when it made the big move. And continue to watch this to see if this weekly chart turns at the end of the week to be looking at something somewhat bearish after the greater than 100% retracement. How far down and how far does this close into this green bar? Or by chance, does it become a bottoming tail bar? So right now it's just chopping within a range here. Market looks correct. Market is correcting, Jose. That's what I'm explaining here. Market is correcting. It's just doing it in a from a daily chart perspective and a weekly chart perspective, but with just some erratic price action, which so far is doing nothing to damage the uptrends. So sometimes we call it a frog in a blender type of situation where things are erratic and choppy, and can be a little difficult time not to get chopped up. Oh, Russell. Look at that. Overlapping bars and tails. Come down to support, pop back up again, come up near resistance, back down. Overall, just kind of running in place, going nowhere. Bonds just on kind of like a holding period here. They popped up a little and came in and going nowhere. So most of the area markets aren't doing anything. What are they waiting for? That's the 10-year. It's just kind of drifting down here. See the drift? Going nowhere. 220 looks real solid. Well, 23 looks real solid too. Well, this didn't become a pivot because this dipped down under it. It held there. It's attempting to hold here. We'll see what happens. But 2,300 stopped it. You couldn't get to 2,300. I stopped it. And this is where I was starting to think, hey, if it can get over these highs, well, no, slammed. This thing came out of the blocks yesterday like strong. And then it's right back down. Yeah, I mean, Iron Condor expiring this week would make sense, sure. See buyers coming off of the lows here. Moving averages intersecting the middle of prices. These charts communicate to us that whatever information is that you have privy to, hedge fund with billions of dollars to invest, and, four analysts telling each other what to do, and some, you know, IQ guy sitting there and MIT guy over there and all like trying to figure it out. And nobody knows which way to go here for the moment. Right. So computers are trading against themselves, bouncing things back and forth at certain levels. We'll see which way it ends here. Gold continues to improve. The weekly is still in a downtrend, but it's improving. It's been erratic as well. And silver, is up at resistance there. So far, it's holding up. And the transports, well, you could see they had make that poke above the pivot high, and they're coming back down into the middle of the range. So sort of directionless. No one wants to step up as things were going up last week. It looked like they were going to really rip higher, and then they're not. So we're in a holding period here, and some credit spreads working out, but the directional trades for the most part, we need to see, is this market really going to pick up some steam to the downside, come to support, set up better looking longs, or are we going to chop sideways here for a while and be frustrated? Not so sure yet. The Dow still looks good. All right, stair stepping its way, very controlled. SPX, bumped its head at 4,200, came in, no damage done yet. Thane, you can't tell what the transports in the morning. They, I don't know, with these dots, they really don't give us great information. So I don't know, maybe it is. I'm not sure. You can look at individual stocks, the 20 stocks that are in the transports, and see what they're doing. But, even if they was gapping up, we've got this trading range going on here. Just duplicate, right? Just unless it gets above here or down below there, it's just chopping around in between. So keep the powder dry, and let's see if this, and see it's starting to look like it's rolling over. But this bar is not done by a long shot. It's only Tuesday, and well, we need more information. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, on IYT, there's some activity in the railroads, so that's would be my guess of why you see a couple prints there higher. All our opens are okay. We actually are balanced now of put spread and call spreads on the weekly options trader. We picked up Amazon, Tesla, Roku call spreads yesterday. So I don't see any other standouts. So just ask me if you have a question about any open. Go to my interest lists or gappers here in earnings. eBet recent IPO, and that's a steady downtrend after an IPO. That needs a while to set up. I just heard somebody on CNBC saying that Smith and Wesson can't make the guns fast enough, so pulled up the chart. Not bad. It's a buy setup. We talked about buy setups yesterday. It's not in a beautiful uptrend rising 2050, but it broke out, pulled back, support. It's a V top. So 30-minute high, that could be okay. Yeah, I saw Caesars up, but there was no pattern to me. Yeah, I got all these overlapping bars over here. maybe put spread over yesterday's high, but it's a mess for directional. So CP, Canadian Pacific. I don't know if this is the acquire or CNI. One of these were down because they were, I think it was CNI 109. So that's a bearish gap. Because this was the one that they had a bidding war for. And now they said, no, we're going to go to CP. So obviously that that common sense is a huge negative to this company that thought they were going to get bought out at a bigger number. FSR. Now, we talk about shock patterns. We talk about a something something bar. This is a downtrend, a steady, nasty downtrend. Look at the tightness of these bars under the 20. But the question is today the start? Is this the end of the downtrend? And then we start to break out here. So maybe 30-minute high. We'll take a look at that. I don't know, McGraw. Let's talk about it at 30-minute high, but I'm sure we can find better patterns, in my opinion. Maybe M had earnings 136.70, so nice bullish gap up. McGraw, I'd rather put spread on IBM on a pullback as a put spread because of earnings, and then the volatility will be higher. Thomas wants to short Mo and Uber. Yeah, Mo. Well, you missed your entry. We were talking about it yesterday. That's a nasty wide range igniting. And then we were saying in the green room yesterday to short a bounce, a sell setup, provided it didn't retrace over 40%. And as you can see, didn't bounce very much. But now it's down here. So there's absolutely no reason to short this thing now. That would be a home run target as a short for one less than a 24-hour trade. Uber short, it's in a big fat trading range. Just like yesterday, we were so particular in what we wanted to get into because of the broader market, at least on bullish trades. And then like I said, we put a few call spreads on. But I think today's probably another good 30-minute day to chill. On Zion here, earnings, bank. If it can take out last week's high, that's fine. Earnings, if it can take out yesterday's high, it's fine. It's kind of a bull flag here on the weekly. See, flagpole, consolidation. FNB. Wow, that looks identical almost to this. Look at that, to Zion. Wow, those look similar. I can barely tell them apart. FNB, Jim? This one's FNB. I know, I'm just saying, the two stocks, they almost look like an A and B. They're so darn close to me, to my eye. RE earnings, can't tell where a gap is, but it's bullish all time frames. And you see, did I lose my pre-market gapper? No. So a number of these aren't showing me pre-market anything. So I have no opinion. Got to come back to it. SNV gapping down, so that was a bank, but no pattern. United earnings and a couple other airlines have earnings. They were weak yesterday. Gapping down, $53. You see jets here yesterday. And still look lower. Cruise ships. And that looks lower. There you go. McGraw, that's a call spread idea. 30-minute low. JRMP short. And then here's what Thomas also said on YouTube for any of you fundamental people. JR wants MP short. Down 3 days, bottoming tail, but it's if it cracks this 15-minute, then it would be a day trade. It's not your swing trade entry was under the igniting bar, not now. Where am I? Stalled. All right, this one I like as a possible long. Earnings, bullish consolidation, gapping up into yesterday's range. Ideally, I would want this just to stay strong in the upper 50% of yesterday's range. And then at the 10 o'clock reversal, if the market is in a good mood, or, even if not, if this would take out yesterday's high after 30 minutes, then that is a beautiful breakout trade. So that for a long, that's one of the best things I've seen so far. Austin, yes, that's a great point. Because remember on our Austin's, I made a comment about a call spread on RCL, and Austin is saying, well, hey, isn't there pending news, the CDC, about the date when it resumes sailing? So yeah, on our trading checklist, right, whether we're trading stocks or options, we have one of those is there any pending news? So yeah, that's definitely, I think could move it. Absolutely. And with any move, it's typically what the market has priced in of what the CDC is going to say, which I don't know what the market is expecting on resuming. I really don't. So it's kind of an academic question. Only the market's going to tell us the reaction once the CDC opens their mouth and says something. CCK here is gapping up, but nothing to do with it. Nice igniting bar right there. That was a beautiful entry. And then the gap continuation, red bar ignored. That would have been a little harder to get on board to me because that's visually a big gap, but nothing to do with it. So I just gonna delete it. Hexel, last week's high. Last week's high is a breakout. Dove gapping up $5. So it's gapping up $5, but from a bullish consolidation, that's worth watching. Norbert, BLDP. BL, yeah, it's a short. Yeah, this is a textbook descending triangle with a breakdown on the weekly. So that's a beautiful triangle at the 200 with a declining 20 and 50. I'm going to grab a screenshot of that and put it in my triangle file later. Yeah, I noticed Tesla turned green. We have a call spread on that. We also have a call spread on Amazon, which is fine. SPR cousin. I don't see anything yet, but maybe if you get a bullish gap, McGraw, 47 or higher, then it might have my interest. All right, where did I leave off here? Duh. That's where I left off. Nike got a downgrade. McGraw, this would be a great put spread, or call spread rather, over yesterday's high, and could set up for a day trade, target 200. Play had earnings gapping up, but it's a mess. I'm deleting you. Traveler. It's a mess. SMV, we already talked about. This one's gapping up, coming in. It's a mess. I got no interest, so I'm into just winnowing down my list here if there's nothing interesting. And it's gapping to 29. That's not great. Man, 113, gapping too much, but strong daily, weekly, monthly. Gapping down 388 and change. No pattern. It's been on a tear. Look at this, been on a tear on the weekly. We'll come back to it. Manuel, your drop down. Fit B, another bank earnings, no pattern, you're gone. PG earnings, it's trading range. Nothing to do with it, it's trading range. PM had earnings. And there was news yesterday about the Biden. I see Boeing selling off here. Oh, marijuana is in the news again, that something passed the House. They're uncertain about the Senate. But look, there's still no pattern. Still no pattern. Q's ripping here. Wow, look at Netflix and Apple. Wow. Apple's consolidating at resistance after a huge move from a bottoming pattern. Remember we had this in our MT live on bottoming patterns, and we bought long calls over this red bar's high right there. We nailed the entry. Didn't hold it long enough, which is unfortunately part of my problem a lot.